Hello and welcome back to Marine for TCG. My name is Joe. Drink of the day is a cold glass of water. And my face when new events. Today Bandai revealed new events for each of the 6 leaders. Some are more impactful than others, but I think all are worth at least a little bit of discussion. But first, if you're looking for the coolest TCG accessories on the market, you've got to check out Sleeve Chief. They've got sleeves, they've got binders, they've got deck boxes. Your favourite characters or original designs, Sleeve Chief has it all. And if you do purchase anything, you can use code MARINE for 5% off. Thank you to Sleeve Chief for sponsoring this video. Firstly, we got Let's Show Them What We're Made Of, 9-cost red Whitebeard Pirates event. And it's a red card, so you just know it's gonna be a banger. On main, you can play up to 2 characters, including Whitebeard Pirates in their types, with 8,000 power from your hand. Trigger buffs your leader by 1k for the turn. Classic red trigger. Why this isn't a hybrid event, I really wish it was. I know 9 cost is it's quite a high cost to have that second effect. But when you look at the targets for this, it's kind of underwhelming. It's really kind of underwhelming. Like, if you're incorporating this Little Laws Junior, then you may as well just play 2 units for 10 Don, right? Because all the other ones cost 6. At least the good 2. Realistically, you want to be including either Vista or Marco, because that's the unit you're going to give Rush with your leader effect. And then your second summon will be a blocker, either Thatch or Jozu or Little Laws. It's fine, but you're going -3 in hand, -2 if you play Vista, but still -3 in hand just to get cheap like 3 Don maybe? I don't know. We've seen that Don cheat be very, very good in Red Blue Ace when you're playing out that big Whitebeard a turn early. But a lot of that power is in the other effect where you can take life to buff your leader. And also just getting to play a 10-12. Like, these are cards that you would have had the ability to play on rate at this point in the game. You're just getting to play maybe an extra one. It seems fine. It's a bit of a combo to assemble. And I really wish this was a hybrid event. Just give it 3k for my leader, because this is now another brick in the deck. We already have quite a lot of bricks if we're not able to establish like that Ace and Luffy early doors. And also one of the best targets, this 6-8 Ace promo is not going to be out in the West. We don't know when we're getting this. Certainly not at pre-release. Literally, who knows? It may well be one of the promos we just never end up getting. But for now, I'm not exactly excited about this card. It's definitely something I want to try to see if the value is good enough. But my gut instinct is just playing a 6-8 rusher and also cheating out a blocker may well not be enough. But we'll see, It's just feels a little old. I don't know, man. Anyway, let's go to the Navy headquarters Impel Down Straw Hat Crew 1-cost event. Now, this one is a hybrid event, so it's already gone pretty up quite a lot in my opinion. Main, you can rest 6 Don. If you have 5 Impel Down type characters with different card names, you set your leader and all your characters as active. So this is just a kill move. If you've managed to assemble the Infinity Stones, 5 differently named Impel Down characters, you can then just attack with all of them and then set them all as active. This is going to be kind of dog shit into leaders that become bigger, because if you look at what characters are available, and I'll get rid of my face, so many of them are really small. Like, this Mr. 2 and this Mr. 1 naturally lead Don X1. So does this Luffy. Ivankov is going to need at least 1 Don to hit at 5k. And if your opponent is then... And if your opponent's like a 7k leader, sure, this Mr. 2 still works, because it copies the power. But the Luffy is then not... You're not hitting for 7. You're hitting for 6k for just Don X1, so you need Don X2. And this Mr. 1 is hitting for the 6k as well for Don X1, so he needs Don X2. Ivankov will need Don X2. So that kind of scares me. Like, I feel like this deck is just going to really struggle into both Luna. Although I guess this can at worst undo a Luna. And also just big leaders. But the power you get out of this if you're playing into a regular 5 or 6k leader is wild, right? Imagine you get to swing sort of 6k with Mr. 2, 6k with Mr. 1, 6k with Luffy, whatever with this boa. Say you got the crocodile, and then you swing 6k with that. You swing 6 or 7 with leader, restand everything, restand 2 Don from your leader effect, And then you do all of that again, and it's an insane kill move. It's like a final blow beating or whatever. Also kind of fucked blockers because both this Luffy can rest blockers if you restand him, the 461 from the deck, and also Boa ignores them. So I do think this is a good card in the deck, and I think you'll see this at probably around 2 copies. But I fear for this deck into big leaders, I can't lie. If this is your strategy. Into those decks, you're probably going to have to go just more Boa centric, and this is not going to be good. But yeah, insane kill move, has good potential in the deck. The prisoners are rioting, possibly the funniest one that was revealed. 1 cost impel down event. Oh, I can bring my face back. I'm covering the prisoner, who cares? On main, if you have 10 Don on your field, set the base power of all your prisoners to 7,000 for the turn. So if you've got 3 of these out, you're getting for 1 Don, you're getting plus 3k power. If you've got 4 of these out, for 1 Don, you're getting plus 4k, and that's when it starts getting pretty juicy. If you've got a full board somehow, well, you're getting 1 Don plus 5k, which is pretty strong. This card's a bit weird. I don't know how often you're going to get more than 3k, but because this is a 4k counter for your buggy, and your buggy is just going to be a 5k leader for pretty much the whole game, and I think your leader's going to be getting attacked a lot because of the penalty for attacking into your board in the leader effect. So I think you're going to be running this anyway, just for the counter effect. And then the fact that this can buff up some of your dudes when you're going for lethal seems pretty nice to me. Also just really funny. I love the art on this one. This is fire. I kind of hope we get an alt art of this in one of the files at some point, because this looks really, really sick. Moving on to Sengoku, and there's a couple of cards we're going to talk about. 1 cost Buddha Sengoku, purple event, navy. On lane, you look at the top 5, grab 2 navies and put them in your hand, then trash 1 card from your hand. Now this solves, I think, 2 problems the deck has. First, not solves, but helps with. Firstly, you need to assemble your combo. If you whiff your combo, man, this deck's going to suck. So being able to search 2 is going to make that Admiral combo a lot easier to combine. Yeah, that makes sense. Also, the fact that you get to find 2 new cards and then trash 1 can help with your brick situation. Later game, once you've done your combo, if you don't need it anymore, this is still a good card, because you're removing 2 bricks from your hand in order to search maybe 2 2Ks on a good day. And that seems pretty solid to me. By being both useful at the start of the game for assembling combos, and at the end of the game for maybe finding 1 more Sakazuki that you need or whatever, or just accumulating counter. This is a really good card for the deck. It reminds me of the blue Sengoku that Kuzan has. Very, very similar. And these are some of the targets you can find. Of course, your admirals, but this also finds your ramp. It finds more searchers. If you see, maybe you see a Sakazuki, you've got a Borsellino in hand, but you still haven't found Kuzan. Maybe you can grab a Kobe and then play a Kobe to try and find that Kuzan that you need. Also finds Rosas and Law, which is a nice alternate play for this deck, I think. Being a nice big blocker and getting some draw is something this deck is going to really need, because we don't have a lot of card draw. The other card that this deck has gained pretty recently is 3 Admirals. This was just yesterday, regular reveal, but I figured we'd talk about it. On main for 4 Don, effectively, you can buff 3 of your Admirals by 2k. So you're getting 6,000 power for 4 Don, but this also gives you Rested Don. And if we go back to the Admirals, when you're going for lethal, you're going to want Rested Don for really Kuzan. If you've got multiple Kuzan especially, to just deny all those blockers. So, and obviously you're going to want to do this effect before swinging so that they can't just use them. So this giving you power that you can then use those Dons in 2 different ways seems good to me. The other effect is if you're an Admiral type character, one of your leader characters gets 4,000 for the battle. And this is very, very important for the deck, because we don't have a lot of card economy. We don't have a lot of card draw. We've got this Rosas and Law, and we've got some searchers. Nothing else is even really going neutral. So we're all about the board value, and this counter event is just going to help you cheat a card here and there. If you don't have an Admiral type character on the board, honestly, you're beyond fucked anyway. It just means you can't use this early game before your leader turn. But I think it's good enough anyway. I would be very surprised if we don't see this at least 2 copies in Sengoku. Now we've got a few Yamato cards. Firstly, this one, I've come to cut the chains. For 7 Don, you can mill 5 and then play a 6 cost or less Wano character from your trash. And because of your leader effect, that will naturally gain Rush. We did it. We found how we can give the full cost double attack Ryuma rush. It just costs $8. It's obviously not worth it. However, for 7, being able to cheat out the 6 cost Yamato, that seems worth it. You're paying 1 Don extra compared to just summoning it from hand, but you get to rush with it. And this, I like this card design, right? Because this means that when you're on your odd curve, you're not just playing the Yamato, but a turn late. I know there's the Hakama thing you can do as well, but saying that aside, it means that on 7, you can actually gain an advantage to making the same play whilst being on 7, because you get that extra 5k swing with the 6 cost Yamato, which seems really good to me. Can also summon other things. I've got some of them on the next slide. There's nothing better than the Yamato to summon. It's also nice that this is a hybrid event, so even if you're not on 7, or you just don't need to play this card, maybe you just draw all your Yamatos, it's nice that you can just use this as counter anyway. And speaking of Yamato, here is in fact the Yamato. You're going to play this, and then you know what it does. It turns into an 8 cost, and then that will also gain rush. So on your 7 non-turn, you're going to get Sweep with 5 with lead, maybe 6 with a Kinemon if you played him last turn, 5 with the Yamato, and then 8 with a bigger Yamato. Seems very reasonable to me. Here's a couple of the other targets you could summon, though I don't think you really want to summon either of them. Next up, Yamato got a restand event, but this one's also a hybrid, so inherently better, but also conditional. If one of your opponent's characters has been KO'd this turn, you get to restand your Yamato leader. Reminds me of OP16 Lucci. That deck was ass, but this is a card in a different deck. You don't have to trash 2. We've seen these restand events be good in pretty much every leader that's had them. Zoro loved his restand. Uta loved his restand. We don't talk so much about Kuro, but when he was okay, he did like the restand. And this seems like a good inclusion, right? This also works if your opponent blocks, which is quite nice, because that counts as a character being KO'd. And you can also just attack with one of your dudes into their board and then attack with your leader. I don't know. I think the condition is a little bit annoying. I'm not sure if this needed it, but the extra push that you'll get at lethal by restanding your leader, you can't overlook that. It's so big. A lot of board states often look like, okay, there's no character, opponent's got no characters, I've got a blocker, they can't kill me, even though I'm at 0 life. Well, with restand events, you can, because if they block, then they still just die to this. Seems like a good card. Probably, I don't know if you'll play this as a 4 of, like Uta and Zoro have, but I think you'll play it to at least 2 copies. The one that I'm less interested in is MFW. 2 cost event. Welcome back, Gum Diable 3-sword style Muton Jet 600-pound Phoenix Cannon. What a card. This has been terrible forever. You get plus 3,000 power on something, and then you can pop a 2. It's alright. There's a few 2s that are relevant. Mainly chump blockers when you'd be looking to do an effect like this. Trigger's funny, adds a Yamato to your hand. I'm not excited about this one though. I don't think this is very good. If there's any Lucci copers though, they might enjoy this. Finally, we move on to Teach. Black Vortex, 1 cost event. And this is another consistency event for Teach. On main, if your leader's a Blackbeard pirate, you can grab a trigger card, except for itself, from your trash to your hand. So for one Don, you can grab pretty much anything from your trash, because there's not that many cards in this deck that don't have triggers. You're thinking 10 cost Blackbeard, you're thinking Borsalino. I don't know, that seems pretty good to me. Also, the trigger negates one of your opponent's leaders or characters, which I want to talk about that specifically, because Shiryu adds a Blackbeard Pirates type card to the top of your life. So if you're in a position where you could potentially lose to a Roger play, you can use Shiryu, heal Black Vortex, and then when they attack with something, negate the Roger. Which is really relevant because then they do not have the Roger's effect to auto win online, and your Blackbeard blockers can then freely block again. Of course, you can do this with the older Blackbeard cards, but this effectively being a searcher that also has that little inbuilt seems pretty good to me. What we're going to be grabbing with this, though, being able to play this, for example, on 9, you can grab out the Blackbeard and then play out the Blackbeard for the rest of your 8 Don. Same with Shiryu on 7. It could be a nice consistency piece for your odd curve. Although I will say the one question mark I have about this card is there's a lot of searches in this deck already. We have Lafitte, we have Stage, we have This Is My Age. Maybe we don't play Stage, maybe we just play this. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. One nice thing is you can grab a Boa. And this is a nice way in this deck to search Boa. All of the Blackbeard Pirates searchers cannot search her. So this seems like a pretty interesting card. I don't know where I am on this one. I think it has potential, and I like the trigger combo with Shiryu, but I could easily see this not making the cut if the other searches end up being more popular. And finally, we got one more card, Black Hole, 2-cost event. On main, you can trash a trigger card from your hand and negate an 8-cost for the turn. Notably, with Stronger, you can negate a 10 to negate something like a Blackbeard or a Whitebeard. I don't know, this seems a bit mid. I'm not a huge fan of this one. The trigger's cool, grab any Blackbeard Pirates card from your hand. But yeah, we've already got Ground Death, and that's a nice big counter event. This doesn't have any counter. I don't know, maybe I'm underrating this card. Negating blockers is always good, of course, when you're going for lethal. And maybe this is just good enough because of that, but you're never using this at any other time in the game other than going for lethal because it's a -2. So I'm just not very ecstatic about this card. I'm not a huge fan. So that's it. If you have different opinions on any of these events, please do let me know in the comments. I don't think any of these are like meta changes, but there's some really nice cards here. The Sengoku event seems really good for that deck's consistency. I'm very interested in the sort of cool lethals you can do with the Luffy event. And then the Yamato and Blackbeard events, I think, are going to need a bit more experimentation because they're solid, but I'm not 100% if they're good enough or not yet. Either way, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.